Simon, perhaps you'd like to introduce yourself to the viewers of Positive TV. Tell us who you are, and tell us about what we're likely to see today, and what we can expect.
Okay. Well, my name's Simon Rowe, and I'm a channeler. And what I think you're going to see today is the universe in action, basically. What I perceive is going to happen is that because of my belief and my intention, and I understand myself to be an energy rather than this physical body or my mind or my brain, what I have the ability to do is to move my physical energy out, sorry, not my physical energy, is to move my, I don't know how to describe it, it's to move my energy out of this physical body. So that's basically what I'm going to be doing, is moving my energy, which is my belief that I'm not the physical body, and I'll be moving that out of this physical body that you can see. And what that then does is it kind of vacates the physical body and allows other different universal energies to come and occupy, to make use of the sensory abilities of the physical body to express themselves through, and to give, I guess, guidance and wisdom in terms of that which humanity itself can, I guess, come to some understanding of the nature of themselves and where they are in humanity.
How does it feel to you?
How does it feel to me? Initially it felt quite weird, have to admit that, but now it's actually really quite natural. It's something that took practice, took quite a lot of I guess what I call experimentation in terms of how to leave the physical body, how to come back into the physical body, what depth to go to in terms of trance. There's still some experimentation to do in terms of switching energies without me coming back into the physical body, so that's something else that I'm practicing as well. But it seems to me now feels very much like a natural process.
Okay, what do people make of the information that comes through? What's your sort of reaction to people's reactions to you?
To me, well, because I'm not there and I don't know what the information is that's come through, it's actually, there's a lot of wonderment as to, well, firstly, what was said. I mean, I have come back to shocked faces, delight. The first time that this group came through, there was almost a stunned look on those that were there when they witnessed this group coming through. I don't know. There's the range of reactions is actually quite different, and I guess that is something to do with either the acceptance or disbelief that each individual brings to that as an experience.
How do we separate this from Victorian mediums bringing through people's grannies and things like that? I mean, is it different?
It is different because I don't channel individual, I guess, deceased beings. Although, having said that, part of the group that I do channel, there are energies in there that have had an existence as a human being, but they don't claim to be the entirety of that human experience. They are, for instance, a particle or an energetic representation of that which was the human life. So it is different. It's not a question of delivering personal messages to relatives from deceased relatives. This is more high vibrational in that respect, in the sense that it's the delivery of information, guidance, wisdom as to where humanity is standing at this particular moment in our time, from the impact of humanity on the universe, not just the impact on humanity on itself from a negative or positive perspective. It's how is humanity impacting the earth, how is humanity impacting the universe, and it's from that perspective that these energies have come here to give advice. They're not saying we have to do anything, but they're simply pointing to the impact that humanity is having at the moment.
And just lastly, before we actually experience that, could you describe a little bit, describe for us again who it is or what it is that makes up this group. I mean, my assumption is, as you've been saying, it's not just one person, not just one entity.
No. The way I understand it, and at the moment I'm not privy to all of the energies, there's 144 energies, and some of them, as I say, have had incarnations as human beings. So there's Christ consciousness, there's Gandhi energy, there's Queen Elizabeth I energy, there's, who else is there? There's, I think there's St Andrew. So there's those kind of energies there, and then there's energies that are completely unknown to me. So far, I've got information with regards to around 25, 26 of the energies that have had incarnations. But again, out of that, out of the 144, there's still quite a lot that's not known about them.
Okay, great. Well, if you would be kind enough, we would love to speak to your group of guides.
All right. Good afternoon.
Welcome. Thank you very much for agreeing to speak to us here today, but also thank you very much for agreeing to speak to the wider world of Positive TV. Our agenda is all about positivity and helping the earth to move forward, as I think yours is, so we have a very common goal. Perhaps you could introduce yourselves to the viewers of Positive TV and offer any observations you might have that might help.
Okay. Well, we are a group of 144 energies, and we use the term 144 because that is significant in terms of humanity as a number. Humanity itself places significance on numbers. And so in terms of that which is the 12 times 12, which is 144, it is a significant number in human history, and so we have chosen that in terms of the number of energies that have been attracted to this part of the universe. And there is a particular reason why we have been attracted to this part of the universe, because humanity itself is operating in a negative energy field. Now, it is important that we give an explanation as to actually what that means. Each individual human being is a polarity, that of negative or that of positive, but also that of neutral. And of course, when you, as an individual human being, understand the nature of yourself in terms of how you are operating in your day-to-day life, what you are doing in terms of manifesting relationships and manifesting jobs and whatever else it is that you are creating as your life, because that is what you are creating what is an apparent individual life. You can sense when you look inside yourself whether you are in a positive perspective or whether you are in a negative perspective or whether you are neutral, simply observing and watching what is going on. And so when each individual has a unique polarity or a unique vibrational frequency, as we would say, because we are constrained in terms of that which is your human language. When you use the word vibrational frequency with the polarity positive, neutral or negative, what is important to remember is when you group humans together, they begin to blend from an energetic perspective, and when more humans come together, it creates another blend. Of course, as you add positive and negative and neutral into what is the mix of humanity, humanity itself, when you move that up to a global scale, is operating largely on a negative perspective. Of course, what tends to happen in terms of that which is the universe, its natural way of being is to balance itself. It's not necessarily to pour positive energies into a negative situation, but it's to move that which is negative more towards that which is neutral. Of course, there is always the movement of energy within the universe to neutrality. There is, of course, human beings will say, okay, well, we are negative, is it not better that we are positive? But it is not the case that humanity needs to move to that which is a positive perspective. It is more neutral. Of course, we understand that from a positive perspective, that can be neutral itself, because it is the balance. The balance is the positive. That is what we would say. And in terms of how humanity at this particular moment in time, it is operating in the negative. And so we are here to point the way. There are other energies that are out there, that are being channeled or that are available to be channeled. And of course it will be something that becomes more and more common in terms of energies that come through, to be channeled, to give direction and wisdom in particular areas of humanity. But it is that why we are here is because the nature of the polarity of humanity at this time has drawn different energies to this area of the universe in order to balance.
What is the universe made of?
Well, again we come up with the difficulty in terms of that which is language, and the closest word we can come to is energy. Of course, energy is in a waveform, but it is also have a particular vibrational frequency. Of course, as soon as we indicate a particular vibrational frequency, then the natural way of thinking for a human is that there are lower and there are higher vibrational frequencies. But it is not a question of a higher or a lower. It is a question of something that is different. And that is the nature of the universe itself. It is, in its entirety, that from the word that you use is consciousness. It is awareness, but it is not a substance that you can touch. It is something that is multidimensional, but in this particular dimension it is the movement of, we would say, energy, which is at a particular vibrational frequency. And of course, as we have said, when you create or understand the nature of humanity's collective vibrational frequency, or that which is humanity's consciousness, or its awareness of itself, and how that fits into the nature of the universe itself. Humanity itself is a very small collection of vibrational frequencies in the enormity of the universal frequency field. But that is in essence the nature of what the universe is from a human language perspective, is consciousness. It is that which experiences, that which creates. Of course, you or anybody is an expression of the universe itself. There is a perception that you are a unique individual. You are unique in terms of the vibrational frequency that you are, but you are not an individual because you are not separate. And your sciences are beginning to move into that area in order to be able to prove to what you would say is beyond a reasonable doubt to any individual which chooses to look into that area can see that they are not separate from the next. There is no separation.
Why is there this apparent wall of ego? What is the purpose of that in a universal sense?
In terms of the universal sense, you do not need to look at ego from a universal perspective. It is a particular vibrational frequency that is within the nature of humanity itself. There are other pockets in terms of where the ego energy, which is another vibrational frequency, exists out within the universe. But as an energy, it has a particular function. It has a primary purpose. The primary purpose is to maintain this physical body that you apparently exist in, that anybody apparently exists in, so that the universe can experience across the vibrational frequency that makes up humanity, can experience itself through that which is the experiences that are created, so it can reflect back, because that is what the universe is about. It is an expansive consciousness that wishes to know or understand the nature of its parts.
Are we striving to move past this paradigm? Are we striving to find the way? I mean, is this what our journey is, to pass ego?
Well, it is not the journey to pass ego, it is the journey to put ego back in the context of that which it was originally created to do, as an ego perspective, as an energy perspective, just to maintain the physical body. That is the primary purpose of the ego, in terms of that which is the universe, in terms of witnessing itself through the physical body. Then that is the ego. But it is important that humanity understands that at this particular moment in time, the experience of humanity at this collective vibrational frequency has been had, has been understood, and it is important that the universe reflect back to itself that it does not need to have this, what we would say, human experience at this particular vibrational frequency. And as we have said, the universe is continuously expanding. So it is within that humanity also needs to expand to keep up with it. And in terms of that expansion, we are not saying that you need to increase the level of your population here on Earth. What we are saying is that you need to expand your consciousness to a different vibrational frequency so that the universe can experience itself through humanity at a different vibrational frequency. And you will see a vast difference if humanity collectively chooses or intends to move its vibrational frequency to that of a different experience.
I guess we probably have two stumbling blocks. One is the difficulty in believing what we're seeing here on this film. And the other is when we've accepted that it is possible for us to communicate with other frequencies, other energies, how do we then move ourselves? And so perhaps you could comment on how we could suspend our disbelief, I suppose, how better to understand the existence of these other universes, and then with that, how to change ourselves.
It is not about suspending any disbelief, it is about what your belief is, of that of the self, in terms of whether you are the body that you sense that you are, whether you are the mind that potentially you sense you are, or whether you are an energy that you potentially sense that you are, in terms of that which is the individual or apparent individual human being's belief, because the belief itself is that of the ego. The ego creates belief systems and creates strategies in order to maintain the physical body, but that has got out of hand. It is not a matter of the understanding that each individual human being comes to in terms of whether it listens to us as a universal energy or sees us as a human being. That is not the point. The point is you, as an individual human being who is apparently separate, is the belief system that you come to outside of that which is the ego. And it is that which there is this phenomena that you can connect into at any moment in time, is to separate yourself from that which is the ego experience to that which is the observer. There are different energies, but you know whether you are in the experience of being a human being or whether you are observing it as a human being. So that is the experience versus the observation of the experience. So what we would say in terms of that as the individual, or the apparent individual, as most people will consider themselves to be, is an understanding and a movement towards that they are an energy. If you ask any individual human being to locate themselves, where are they? Whether are they in the physical body? Are they the physical body? Are they in the mind? They will not be able to locate themselves. It's a matter of the sense, a belief of what they are being asked to locate. And what it is that once they understand they cannot locate themselves, then they have to ask the question, what am I? The who am I is very easy, because the who am I is the ego. And the ego is very obvious in terms of that which is the everyday experience that you are having. But when you ask somebody, where are you? They will not be able to find themselves. And so there needs to be, as we have said, this inquiry, an understanding, and a settlement of the nature of what they are. And we would point to that which is you being an energy. And then, of course, when you understand the nature of energy, energy is not separate from anything. It is the vastness of the universal energy that you are a part of. And then outside of being a part of it, because we would say that there are, for this particular purpose, different vibrational frequencies in order to give you an identity or an individuality within the subject area of you understanding that you are an energy. But the reality of it outside of that is that there is only one energy, that of the universal energy, but it is the expression of the universe that comes through the physical body that gives itself a uniqueness in terms of that which is an experience. So once you have come to the settlement, whether you believe we are universal energies or what you believe of yourself, that is a matter for the universe to point in the direction of that which you truly are. But then what we are saying is that once you have come to a belief or an understanding of who you are and then what you are, it's how humanity then identifies itself within the nature of the universe, because humanity is a collection of universal energies. Of course, within the nature of there being no separation between energies, humanity is the universe. Everything within the universe is simply the universe itself expressing that which it is, trying to understand the various aspects and parts of itself to create the whole. So it is important that human beings individually, apparently, come to the understanding of what they are. And it is through us we can point that in terms of the direction. We can point the way in terms of that. And once that is understood, then humanity itself needs to come together to decide, because the nature of each individual human being at this moment in time is creating, is designing the world that you are living in. And humanity needs at some level to decide collectively whether the design of the life that has been created on the collective level, at a civilization level, is that which humanity wishes to have. But also that trickles back down to that which is the apparent individual, because there is the sense that you are the individual and the life that you create.
I think my last question would be surrounding fear. I think from the human perspective, there has been a lot of fear, and there is still a lot of fear, surrounding the end of our time and so forth. I wonder how best could you offer, perhaps, a vision of the potential future? Quite clearly you're helping to point it in a particular way, but if you could offer some, perhaps, words of comfort about the change that's potential for us.
Well, there is no time. We can offer that. And in terms of that being, there is no time, then it is timeless in terms of that which you can achieve. In terms of that which you can achieve, beyond that which is fear, is a healthy, sharing, community-based approach to life. Of course we can use the words peace and harmony, because they will be within the nature of that as a way of living for humanity. But the thing that does stop humanity raising itself, raising its vibrational frequency collectively, as you have quite rightly pointed out, is that of fear. Of course, fear is that of the ego. We say that we understand humanity from an ego perspective and that of the observer perspective have two primary emotions. One is love and one is fear. And it is the fear, in terms of that fear vibrational frequency, that holds the collective nature of humanity's vibrational frequency at the level it is in terms of the negativity. So what we are saying is that we are pointing humanity in the direction of moving, not just fear of on an individual level, but fear on a civilization level, that we are suggesting that Things can be put in place, processes or education programs or designs can be put in place to remove fear from each individual. And we have said on a few occasions that the basic fear level of each individual human being is that they are going to die. And so what is it that they require in order to remove that fear of dying? Is the basic level of water, of energy, of clothing, of shelter, and of food. They are the basics for human existence, and each human being, in their apparent non-separateness, can, in terms of that, can be part of the universe. But when there is a separateness from the universe, then those 5 or 6 things need to be covered, because each individual themselves, whether you call it a right to existence, has a right to create a life from a base of no fear. Once fear is removed, that is the gateway, if you like, to that which can be a different experience for humanity as a whole, because it is the fear, the vibrational frequency of fear, that keeps humanity at this particular vibrational frequency. But the universe is saying and pointing the way, because of the nature of how it is bringing energies to balance the negativity of humanity. It is saying enough. You do not need to continue to have this fear-based experience within humanity. You can see within the wars that you have, within the violence and the anger that exists both at a national and international and individual level, that can be removed, because it is all geared to fear of death. Once you remove the fear of death, then from that a new humanity can emerge. And that is what we are pointing to.
Thank you very much for pointing to it. We really appreciate your support and your guidance. Perhaps there's one last closing remark you'd like to make for the viewers of Positive TV?
Well, in terms of Positive TV, it is an environment in which we would suggest, because you tune in to Positive TV, you immediately connect to a community that is moving in the direction of creating a new humanity. And it is about a new humanity that you yourself as an individual need to be connecting into, to be understanding the nature of yourself. When there are messages on Positive TV that are pointing in that direction, then they call to you, because the moment that you connect in, you are connected in for a particular reason. And the particular reason is that your energy is flowing in that direction. You should always be conscious of where your energy is flowing, because it is the energy that is creating. So when you are observing whatever it is on Positive TV, whatever the messages are at that particular moment in time, that is where your attention is. And once you have your attention and are conscious of what you are seeing from a positive perspective, then you are immediately not in the negative. So we would suggest that maintain the positive, of course, by watching Positive TV, but also doing positive things. In terms of humanity itself, it is to the movement towards the neutral position that we would point to.
Altheris, thank you very much for talking to Positive TV.
You're welcome.
And how do you feel now? Apart from a bit dehydrated.
Well, I don't know what was said.
No, fine,
So
okay.
I do feel dehydrated. But I hope that what was said was
really wonderful, yeah.
Really useful.
It was.
To people. So, yeah.
Thank you very much for talking to us as well, or allowing us to talk to your guides.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.